Yep, good evening, and you're watching Thai PBS English News Service. You're with me tonight, Subajoy Klin Sawan. It's International Labor Day, and workers across the country are saying that imposing the 300 baht a day national minimum wage is insufficient, and workers also took the opportunity of Labor Day to submit a list of requests to the government. The Labour Council of Thailand and workers across the country paraded in every province today. In Bangkok, the gathering saw workers submit 9 requests to the Yingluck government. Workers are asking the government to set up a workers' risk fund to compensate them in case their workplaces go out of business, eradicate abuse of workers, set up a universal health care fund for workers, and assist workers who are victims of the floods of 2011. On top of these requests, workers are asking the government to reduce the price of consumer products. Labour Minister Phattumthani Blaze says the government will take all requests into consideration, but did not offer any commitments. As for the cost of living, the Labour Minister said the invisible hand within the market continues to drive commodity prices up, despite the government's initiatives to control prices. Meanwhile, labor unions are asking all 38 million workers across the country to be more united when it comes to pushing government policies. At present, only 500,000 of 38 million Thai workers are members of a labor union of some kind. Many workers in many provinces are helping the government's war on drugs by organizing activities to fight against narcotic abuse, including sporting events and family events at their factories or in front of government offices. Additionally, workers in Surat Thani and Songkhla are campaigning against global warming. Meanwhile, Burmese workers in Pak's Mesot district made use of the holidays to organize cultural activities and use the opportunity to inform their fellow migrant workers about their rights in this country. Despite the Ministry of Commerce revealing that April's inflation is up only 2.47%, workers complain that they are feeling the pinch more than the government is aware. Workers say that 300 baht a day is not making their lives easier, nor reflecting reality. Thai PBS's survey near the Thaupun area found that the newly adjusted 300 baht a day minimum wage is not reflecting reality, as the cost of living is constantly and steeply on the rise. Hikes in electricity, transport, and energy prices are the main causes. PM Yingluck says her government is getting hands-on by intervening the market, adding that the prices for many commodities are higher than they should be. Today's cabinet meeting decided to extend the free services on buses and trains for another 5 months. 2 billion baht of tax money will be used to subsidize the Bangkok Mass Transit Authority and the Railway Authority of Thailand. Yanyong Puongrat, the Commerce Ministry's permanent secretary, reveals that April's inflation rate was only 2.47% compared with April 2011. However, food and beverages saw an average of an 8% hike year-on-year. The ministry insists that 2012's inflation rate will be no higher than 3.8%. 7 provinces in this country have already imposed the 300 baht a day minimum wage, yet most insist that it will not make their lives any easier. A recent Dusit poll suggested that over 40% of the labor force say they are facing greater hardship than last year after struggling with the effects of the floods and rising cost of living. 24%, however, said their lives improved following the wage rise. Moving on to politics, as the 5-year ban on 111 former executives of the Thai Party will expire at the end of this month, today the opposition leader said that 111 banned politicians have the right to return to politics and would become an alternative for Thais, while the Pheu Thai Party leader says that he is willing to work with all banned politicians while not commenting on a big cabinet reshuffle when the former politicians complete their ban. A famous political saying, "There are no true friends or true enemies in politics," proves to be true. Yongyut Wichaidit, leader of the Pheu Thai Party, claims he is ready to work with the 111 banned former executives of the dissolved Thai Party, whose ban ends on May the 30th. This includes Newin Chitchop, the key supporter of the Phumjai Thai Party, who was once a minister in the Palang Prachachon Party's government before shifting to support the Democrat Party. The leader of the Pheu Thai party avoided comments on a possible cabinet reshuffle if the former Thai Rak Thai executives, most of whom have close ties with Thaksin Shinawatra, come back to politics. He insists that the sole decision belongs to Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra. The Thai Rak Thai party was dissolved 5 years ago, and party executives were banned from politics for 5 years after one of their executives was found guilty of vote buying. The Palang Prachachon became the successor party, still clearly under Thaksin Shinawatra's control. Subsequently, the party was banned and led to the establishment of the current Pheu Thai party. Opposition leader Abhisit Vejchajiwa insists that all of the 111 banned politicians have a legal right to return to politics and believes that they will become another choice for people as they used to play a crucial role in Thai politics. While the former executives of Thai Rak Thai played in a football match between politicians, stars and the press yesterday, Somsak Thepsutin, supporter of the Phum Chai Thai party, joined the match, and that has raised further question about the political direction of the Phum Chai Thai party because the party once shifted support from the Palang Prachachon party to the Democrats and played a part in the Democrat government. Earlier today, a fire broke out at Nimit Mai in Phattumthani province. Because the blaze could not be extinguished in time, the fire spread to the Nissan car showroom next door, damaging about 40 cars. Insufficient water and insufficient time for firefighters were the reasons why this latest wildfire on hectares of dry grass spread easily and quickly into the Nissan car showroom in Phattumthani's Nimit Mai district. A witness claims he saw 2 people standing near the area where the fire started. No arrests have been made. The firefighters spent about 3 hours battling the blaze and used 2 fire engines to spray water into the showroom. Even now, the blaze is not yet under control. Den Nilapat, managing director of the Nissan car showroom, says that the company will be compensated for all damage from the fire through the company's insurance coverage. A month has already passed since the Lee Gardens bombings in Hat Yai, and despite business in the surrounding areas almost returning to normal, the average amount of foreign anti-visitors seemed to be lower than before the incident. Furthermore, the unrest in the Deep South appears to be far from coming to an end. Soldiers in Pattani continue to search intensely for insurgents who planted a motorcycle bomb which killed 3 soldiers. Witnesses who saw the driver of the bike who parked the vehicle at Maelan district gave the police and soldiers a description of the man. Evidence shows that the motorcycle was stolen and used to plant the bomb. The original color was red, but it was repainted black and used a fake license plate. One big question is how the insurgents knew soldiers would be patrolling that area. Meanwhile, in Songkhla's Hat Yai district, where on March 31st, a car bomb exploded at Lee Gardens, the business atmosphere is almost completely back to normal. However, income has dropped, in some cases by 5 to 6 times, especially with the lower number of foreign tourists. The Gardens Hotel is resuming business, but some of the bomb-damaged areas will be fully repaired until May the 4th. Some of the injured people from the car bomb attack still remain in hospital, while the 2 suspected bombers remain at large. The leader of the DKBA Karen ethnic group in Myanmar, whose name was put on the top 25 names on the narcotics blacklist in Thailand, insists that his hands are clean, adding that if the Thai government does not remove his name, more pressure will be put on the border. General Nak Kham Moy, leader of the Karen ethnic group known as DKBA, insists his people are narcotics-free as they have signed a treaty with the Burmese government. Exporting drugs into Thailand or through Thailand is something General Nak is not supporting. The current leader is asking the Thai government to remove his name from the list of the top 25 most wanted drug suspects. Otherwise, there will be more tension along the Thai-Myanmar border in Tak province. The drug suppression police, citing witness and evidence, insists General Na is the mastermind behind a drug cartel in this region. According to the narcotics busters, one of the biggest drug hauls of the decade in October 2003, where 9.4 million methamphetamine pills were flooding into Thailand, was being smuggled by this current group and, in particular, the general himself. Deputy Prime Minister Chalerm Yubamrung insists Na should stop all drug activities and turn himself into Thai authorities. An arrest warrant for General Na will expire next year, yet he was added to the top 25 drug dealers list on April the 20th. The ethnic group closed down all 12 border points immediately in retaliation. Soldiers along the border are on red alert following the warning that safety will not be assured for Thais who cross the border into the group's stronghold. Meanwhile, police are asking football clubs and coaches to keep an eye on foreign footballers playing in the Thai league, as some may use their athletic status as a cover for dealing drugs. After an African football player was found dealing drugs while playing football for a club in Thailand, police are now asking clubs and coaches to keep an eye on possible drug dealing activities among players. Kietisak Sena Mueang, coach of VBCU and former Thai football captain, cites regulations that every club must check the health condition of players and check for narcotic substances in their blood before any contracts are signed. However, authorities are suggesting random checks may be required. A foreign football player playing in the Thai Football League will earn around 100,000 baht per month, which is quite lucrative when compared to other countries in this region. At least 80 more houses were destroyed by the latest rounds of summer storms in the north, while locals are more worried about their freshly planted rubber trees. In previous years, many corn farmers in Nan province converted parts of their farmland into rubber plantations, as the government at that time supported planting of rubber trees to prevent floods and landslides in the mountainous north. The latest round of summer storms uprooted countless numbers of young rubber tree saplings in the province. Locals now worry about the debts they owe following the rubber tree investments and are appealing to the government to assist them. Meanwhile, 80 houses in nearby Phrae were partially destroyed by the strong winds. Locals claim that this year they are experiencing the strongest summer storms in the last 50 years, while at least 380 houses in Nakhon Ratchasima are being renovated after being severely damaged by the strong winds. After the Department of Special Investigation, or DSI, found the illegal approval of a land title deed at Khao Phang Mountain on Samui Island for the son of a former Deputy Prime Minister, the DSI will now conduct a field investigation. Investigative officers from the DSI held a meeting about the field investigation, which will be conducted between May the 19th and 25th at Khao Phang Mountain in Samui Island of Surat Thani province, after the DSI found that despite the illegality of issuing land title deeds for areas of Khao Phang Mountain, the authorities have in fact issued a land ownership title deed to Tan Theek Suban, son of Suthep Theek Suban, former Deputy Prime Minister. The land title deed of Tan Theek Suban covers about 60 rai, or almost 10 hectares, of Khao Phang Mountain from the foothills to the top of the mountain, as well as the cliffs. Police General Prawet Moon Pramuk, Deputy Director General of the DSI, says that the field investigation is to discover whether the land title deed of Tan Theek Suban is lawful. However, he insists that the DSI is not yet in a position to file an allegation, as the DSI has to hear the explanation of this case from the Land Department first. The field investigation will be carried out by the DSI and will examine 20 witnesses as well as officers from the Land Department about the process of issuing land ownership title deeds for the son of Suthep Theek Suban.